Good day, everyone. I am Blessing Afalabi, and with me is Omowumi Dada. And we'll be debating on the topic: Is it ethical to use genetic information in criminal investigations and forensics in Africa countries? We are in the affirmative group, so join us as we go on with this session. Over to you, Omowumi.
All right, thank you so much. So today, like my teammate said already, we'll be debating on the topic, is it ethical to use genetic information in criminal investigations and forensics in African countries? All right, the use of genetic information in criminal investigation has the potential to revolutionize the way we solve crimes in our country today. So this genetic technology has raised ethical concerns though in African countries. However, South Africa, Botswana, and Zambia have implemented legal structures to regulate the use of DNA in criminal investigations and forensic practice. When we're talking about ethical consideration, what does it mean? Ethical consideration involves evaluating the moral implications of a decision, action, or policy. So, from research, some globally accepted ethical values are honesty, integrity, respect, responsibility, among others. So, obtaining genetic information involves the collection, storage, and analysis of biological samples from people. This part of forensics raised concern that challenge most of the ethical values. So most importantly, in some African countries, collection of biological sample is seen as culturally inappropriate, this compounding the problem. Back to our big question, is it ethical? So it is ethical because usually for any well-intended policy to be effective, they have to be measured to ensure its efficacy to yield its desired results. And this is no exception. So looking at some data we were able to gather, like in South African National Forensic Data DNA database, that's NFDDZA. So it has positively impacted criminal investigation and increased conviction rates due to the higher number of leads and the linking of perpetrators to crime scene samples. Then several other studies have identified the desire of citizens wanting this than those opposing it. Like in like in the statistic we were able to get, 91.7% of 470 respondents in Burkina Faso supported incorporating DNA technology in the country's criminal justice system. Therefore, once the appropriate regulatory standards are in place, the use of genetic information in criminal investigation and forensics has way more benefits than its harm. So genetic information can be a powerful tool for solving crimes and bringing justice to the victim and to the family. We can see that it can also play an important role in exonerating the innocent, promoting peace, and preserving human rights in the community and nation as a whole. So using genetic information will ensure fairness and equity in judgment. Looking at a particular case study, which is of a recent in Nigeria, Timileyin Ajayi, a 30-year-old gospel singer, is accused of murdering Salome Adaidu. So the body was found in pieces at his residence in Nasarawa State, Nigeria. The police arrested Ajayi near a church in Oloji on January 12, 2025, where he was caught to the victim's edge. But Ajayi pleaded not guilty to the murder charge, despite all the odds against him.
In this scenario, genetic information and technology would have played an important role of serving justice in this kind of situation. All right,
genetic information in criminal investigation can improve the accuracy and reliability of forensic science. It can lead to the improvements in technology, which might attract more fund allocation for more research and development from government when the effectiveness is seen. And also, it will be a very useful tool in identifying missing persons in case of genocide or ghastly accidents. Let's look into this case study. In the aftermath of Rwandan genocide, DNA analysis was used in identifying the remains of Augustine Bizimana, a suspected top Rwandan genocide leader, through DNA collected from human remains found in a grave in Pointe Noire, Republic of Congo.
Thank you so much, Omawumi. So I'll continue with the rest of the constructive argument. And here we have another case study, who is Joseph DeAngelo, who is an American serial killer. This man has evaded being arrested for several years, but however, implementing DNA analysis in forensic and the criminal investigation for this case was able to bring Joseph Angelo, who had murdered 13 people, raped around 50 women, and even committed over 150 burglaries across California. So the use of DNA analysis in the investigation for this case was very instrumental in arresting this man who has committed so much evil. Moving on, so we understand that when it comes to employing implementing DNA analysis in criminal investigation in Africa, there are several ethical concerns. But yet, these ethical concerns are issues that can be addressed in the same way that the ethical concerns have been addressed in the use of genetic analysis across several other fields, like in healthcare, in agriculture, and several other places where genetic information is being used. So these ethical considerations can be addressed. For instance, in the ethical concerns concerning this can go without being regulated. This can easily be controlled when robust regulations as well as guidelines are implemented to prioritize data privacy as well as protection. And also, there is actually the case of potential for misuse when criminal investigation, DNA analysis is used in criminal investigation. However, just the same way measures have been put in place to control this in other fields, similarly, these same measures can be put in place to cut down the potential for misuse for of the use of DNA analysis in criminal investigation. So strict regulatory bodies can be set in place in African countries, just as has been done in other countries as well. And for instance, even in Egypt, there is the clinical medical research regulation law that is set in place to control the use of clinical trials in Egypt. So the same way measures are put in place for controlling the use of genetic information in other fields, same thing can be done to control the use of DNA information in criminal investigation. And also, when it comes to privacy concern, this also similarly can also be cut and also be controlled. So law enforcement agencies can also be set in place to implement robust safeguards to protect genetic data. So this includes using measures like encryption, secure storage, and also limiting the access for to this genetic information to only the required personnel. So these ethical concerns can easily be addressed the same way ethical concerns have been addressed in the use of criminal and the use of DNA analysis in other fields as well. So like the our argumentative side have said, about issues that this use of criminal DNA analysis in criminal investigation can be used to implicate innocent people. The question is, even right now, when DNA analysis is not being used, innocent people are being implicated. So even without the use of genetic information, innocent people are being implicated. So, but it is important to note that when DNA analysis is put in place, the incidence of this particular kind of scenario when innocent people are being implicated will be drastically reduced. It will be drastically reduced because DNA is something that is unique and specific to individuals. My DNA is different from your DNA. My DNA is different from every other person's DNA. So how come is it that my DNA analysis can be used to implicate me? So it should we should know that when crime scene DNA analysis is analyzed, the aim is actually to find who the criminal is. In addition, when it comes to this, the DNA that is gotten from crime scene are often screened in a database, and this database contains the information of known and confirmed criminals who have evaded arrest for several times. So when an innocent person's DNA is picked from a crime scene and screened against a database such as this, the likelihood that this person's DNA will be a match is actually very slim. So the use of DNA analysis in criminal investigation actually has more potential in limiting the implication of innocent people and increasing the chances that we are going to find criminals who have consistently evaded arrest. So this concern is not something to be so it's not a concern that should hinder the embracing of DNA analysis in criminal investigation in African countries. So there's also the issue that there is error in genetic analysis. The fact is that when it comes to genetic analysis, the measure of precision and accuracy we have at this time is the result of several years of research accumulated together. So if there is still error in genetic research or in analysis of results, this error can also still be solved. But at the case whereby we are writing, there's so much precision and accuracy that has been done and implemented. Imagine using genetic analysis in the field of healthcare, and if the case of an error is such a big deal, then there's chances that people are being wrongly diagnosed or people are being wrongly treated. So the precision that is being used in healthcare, and that same precision is also employed when DNA analysis is used in criminal investigation. And so even if there's a potential for error, further research and development done in this field can help to correct this, can help to correct this. So this is not a concern to avoid or vote against the use of DNA analysis in criminal investigation in African countries. Furthermore, the personnel that are involved in this field can actually be taught, they can be upskilled, they can be trained to be able to rightly and accurately interpret genetic data that they get from crime scene. Furthermore, there is a concern that there is lack of sufficient forensic investigation skills in African countries. But the fact is, logically, it takes education and practice to stand in any profession. For instance, would you call a person a doctor or a surgeon if the person doesn't have a proper training? Or what business does somebody who is a banker have with holding injections or holding blades like a surgeon? So what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to forensic investigation, only experts are supposed to work in that field. So when the right people are employed to do the job, then the concern about lack of these skills will not be a case at all. So therefore, only trained experts are those who should be in this field, and we can train them. Because if they are being trained in other countries and they're doing it, then there's nothing stopping us in African countries from also embracing the same. So in the case of lack of these forensic investigation skills, our people can be trained to be able to do this work. So when they are trained, then we don't have issues with a lack for these investigation skills. And therefore, because this can be resolved, we can embrace and vote for the use of genetic information in criminal investigation as well as forensics in African countries. And lastly, concerning over reliance on DNA analysis for judgment. Um, it is also important to know that DNA analysis is not the only judgmental or the only thing that is being considered when it comes to deciding a person has been innocent or has been guilty for a particular crime. There are several other investigations that is being done by the police and the detective department. So it is all of this collectively put together that is necessary or required to be able to judge a person as being a criminal or not a criminal, or to identify a person as missing, or to identify for this person or this not this particular person. So therefore, but it is also we should also know that when DNA analysis is implemented in our criminal investigation case, the chances that the wicked are going to escape is going to reduce. So, like I mentioned earlier, each person's DNA is unique, and as we know, everybody's DNA is unique. So, once we embrace the use of DNA analysis in criminal investigation, the chances that our justice system is going to become fair, like there's going to be equal equity, those chances are way very very much higher. But it doesn't mean that if this is the only thing we rely on, then there might be issues. No, this is not the only measure to decide who a criminal is. Several other things are being done. But DNA analysis is a very significant contributor in deciding who the criminal or who is innocent in a particular crime situation. So in closing, the benefits of using genetic information in criminal investigation way more outweighs the risk. And so genetic technology can be fully implemented in African countries, especially if the masses are educated about this. And so this will promote and assure privacy as well as safety. And lastly, strict regulatory and legal frameworks can be implemented to reduce the ethical consideration, as it has been done for the or in other cases like in healthcare where genetic analysis is involved. So same regulatory frameworks can also be enforced in the use of DNA analysis in criminal investigation in African countries. These are some of the references that we've used, and thank you.